Hey guys, welcome back to the Lucy Show. Hope you guys are all doing well and happy Father's Day once again. I guess today would be Juneteenth and Father's Day on the same day. I don't know if that happened last year or if it occurs. I don't usually count or remember whenever Father's Day or Mother's Day is. Actually, I thought about today and why Mother's Day and Father's Day are never ever observed, or it's never well, it's not a federal holiday. And I don't know if it'll ever turn into a federal holiday. And I was like, why can't we just have a parents' day where all parents have a day off? And the kids can be really, really excited and thank the parents a lot more by getting a federal holiday a day off. Um, but then I was like, maybe it makes sense why there's a Mother's Day and a Father's Day, just in case, because divorce rates are 50%. So if you did have a parents' day per se, and then you wanted to go out to brunch with your family, it probably wouldn't work, especially coming from a divorced family or something, because you're either going to be with your mom or you're going to be with your dad. I'm like, man, that's pretty dark, but it is it does make more sense, I guess, to have that separate, considering the high statistics of divorces. But anyways, Kim Kardashian and Kanye, I believe they're divorced, right? Or at least separated. Kim Kardashian celebrates ex Kanye West on Father's Day, saying, "Thank you for being the best dad to our babies." And I thought that this was kind of cute because celebrities break up all the time. They may or may not have kids. And it's just nice to see people have amicable breakups. It's really a lot better, I think, a good example to see that there are people who can be divorced and move on. Obviously, they didn't invent this. There are tons of people who are divorced and happy together still. But it's just awful whenever I hear of parents. I do have friends where their parents don't speak to each other at all. And it just puts the children in a very uncomfortable position, especially if obviously if one of the parents is horrible, then granted everything that the other parent says, if it's true, then it's true. But it's really sad when nobody did anything wrong and they just or one of the parents really hates the other one. So they just tarnish like everything about the other parent in front of their children and just make their kids hate their ex-spouses. It's just horrible because it's much better to set a good example that you could have a proper divorce and still be happy later on. So for any of you guys that will end up divorced or get into marriages and it doesn't work out, I hope that you would be nice to your ex-spouses in the future so that at least your kids aren't in an uncomfortable position. And I think it's good. It's a nice thing to set out for kids. Hi there, Crypto Wire, Luke's Food and Travel. Yeah, are you giving me ideas to make this members only? Because I'll do it. No, this channel. I'm not gonna make members only anytime soon. Plus, I only do one live stream. But I think a lot of people are confused why I do members only for the main channel. And well, obviously, it will most likely incentivize more people to become members, in my opinion. And I do two live streams there, nearly every day. So I think people will deal. And honestly, my first stream, I don't really want to interact with people too much, so it makes more sense to have less people talking. I want to interact more with people on the second streams. FTWLA, we have Family Day. Wait, do we get Family Day off though? Do we get Family Day off? Do we get it off in the US? I'm very bad with holidays, guys. I just know we have Christmas off. Why are you elbowing people, Lucy? Armando says. Okay. So that brings me to my next story. I elbowed someone I love by accident today. And it's so embarrassing. I mean, it's funny and embarrassing at the same time because I never thought that this would happen to me. I wasn't in a fight, I was dancing in a small space in the privacy of a room. I was dancing. I was trying to pretend I was Lisa from Blackpink. I was doing her dance moves. And I didn't see my SO behind me. And I just went like this. She has this move where you go like this and you clap out or whatever. I went like this and my elbow just knocked right up his nose. And he started to get a nosebleed. I was stunned. by how quick and hard that force was. I swear I've never heard anybody dancing, but dancing is dangerous, guys. Or at least me dancing is dangerous. I've never done that to anyone. I've never caused anyone to have a nosebleed, but he had a nosebleed. He's fine now. He had a nosebleed for like 5 minutes. I was like, holy F. I can't believe I just did that. It was a tad bit funny though. But I'm not doing that ever again. So I have to like watch my surroundings next time I try to dance K-pop because it's very dangerous when you don't know what you're doing. Saki has an ouch. Did you accidentally give them a black eye also? No, no, I would feel horrible if I gave somebody a black eye because it was just like poof. But yeah, I did cause a bad bleed today. Let's hope that that's it. I won't do that ever again. What do you think of Dash Coin? What do you guys think of Dash Coin? I don't even remember Dash anymore. I think, did I ever invest in that in 2020? I invested in a lot of random things in 2020. That might have been one of them. I think I might have bought some along with like Litecoin. I definitely bought Litecoin at like 60 bucks. And then I got impatient, tossed it. Then it went to 300 and I was like, damn it. And then now it's like 50 something. So crypto is coming down. I'm not going to look at it, but crypto is coming down last I checked. When right before starting the stream. It's like not nearly as low as I want it to be, but I'm practicing patience. And for those of you guys that want to do a little exercise practicing, you can smash that like button with your fingers, do a little tap on your mobile devices. Really appreciate it. If every single one of you that are a part of my channel, community members or not, to always destroy the like button whenever you see any of my videos on either of my channels. Thank you. And also check out 6 free stocks from Webull pinned to the top of the stream down in the description below if you like free stocks. You can get 6 of them up to $12,600 if you're lucky. VGX hit almost 52-week low. Sakyazin says, click, liked it. Thank you, Crimson. VGX, is that Voyager? Is that the Voyager coin? Also never invested in Voyager. I use the Voyager app though. But yeah, I'm not shocked that Voyager would not be doing well if Chronos is at like 10 cents within the last 48 hours. But yeah, do we have family day off? Now I'm very curious. Give me 1 second. I'm going to search this. Is family day off? It will be family day. Family day is, it says family day is in Canada. So I don't think there's a family day in the US then. I think it's just Mother's Day and Father's Day. Do you get family day off in Canada? Does everyone have family day off? Family day was originally created to give people time to spend with their families, but it also provides a day off between New Year's Day and Good Friday. They are approximately 3 months apart. As mentioned above, unfortunately, not everyone gets family day off, which makes it a debatable holiday in many provinces. So not everybody gets it. Some people get it off, which is pretty sweet. Good for Canada. Once again, beautiful place. All right. Next up is something I've been meaning to talk about. I think we might have touched upon on this channel before. But it's this. Today on the Daily Mail, it was reported Leah Thomas and other transgender athletes are banned by World Swimming's governing body. I didn't even know there's a World Swimming governing body, but I feel like there's probably a world something sport governing body everywhere, and I just don't know about it because I'm not a big sports person. But I like swimming. Leah Thompson and other transgender athletes are banned by World Swimming's governing body, FINA, F-I-N-A, which is really confusing because I don't know what the F-I or the N-A stands for, from competing against women. Separate open category will be set up. So we'll read through it and see what that really means. But basically, from my understanding of this title, is anybody who is a transgendered woman, meaning born male, either, I don't know, you inject hormones, or you've altered your body into a female, or now you represent yourself as female, or maybe you didn't do any hormonal changes, but now you identify yourself as a female, cannot compete against women. And I actually asked this on my Instagram to see what you guys think. If you're not following me on Instagram, the poll is on Living with Lucy 123. That is my Instagram page. So let me see what you guys thought. I asked if this was good news, yes or no. Love to see what you guys think, and I will let you know my thoughts on this. All right. Wow. It's been a while since I've seen results like this, but I posted this article, a screenshot of it, and I was like, "Do you think this is good news?" 100% of the people that voted said yes. See that? That is the first time I think I've ever done a poll on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and for 100% to say yes. Um, and not that these polls affect my judgment. They really don't. You guys, most of you, or the Living with Lucy channel, whenever I ask people, like, are you bullish, bearish? People are generally very bullish. I'm still bearish right now for the short term, bullish for the long term on crypto. So I'm not like affected at all by the masses saying that this is good news. My honest opinion is I think one thing that people of the past did properly was they never, and again, correct me if my history is wrong, but like, for the example, the Romans, right, when they had a giant pit and at the Colosseums, they would have warriors fight against each other. I don't think they ever had a male versus a female. And back then, they didn't have the scientific technology to know what a testosterone is, and to know really anything within our DNA to be able to talk about hormones. So they were just probably like, male should be versing male, female should be versing females. I think it's pretty interesting that as we collectively, the world becomes more intelligent. Scratch that. We're not becoming more intelligent. I think we're just gathering more different types of information, but it's just really creating a lot of extra fuss in the world. And this also reminds me, like, before we start reading this, it also brings me back to what we were previously talking about Kim Kardashian. I watched and I do feel for like anybody who went through a transition or a coming out or dealing with any bullies and just a-holes being rude about their own life decisions. I believe that every single person has the right to use whatever pronouns they want to use. If they want to use it for themselves, go ahead. You want to call yourself a different name, call yourself a different name. You want to be known as, a girl, known as a girl. You want to be known as a woman, be known as a woman, a guy, a man, grandparent, even if you don't have children or whatever. You can be known as whatever you want, in my opinion, so long as it doesn't, you're not forcing other people to go along with you. I think it's fine. I respect everybody else's their freedom when it comes down to it. And it kind of reminds me of all of the hardships that a lot of people have gone through, because I recently watched this, I think it's, what is it, Kim Kardashian with David Letterman. It was like an interview, but she went deep on how when she was like in her 20s, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but she was talking about Caitlyn Jenner, aka previously known as Bruce Jenner, which is a gold medal winning Olympic athlete. And she, now Caitlyn, she at the time was married to Kim Kardashian's mother, Kris Jenner. And I guess Bruce, well, it was Bruce at the time. He dressed up as a woman, like full dress, makeup, and everything. And I guess Kim Kardashian like caught him at the time when she was like in her 20s. And that was like over 10 years ago. And she was saying like to David Letterman, like how rough that was. Like she was confused and had to like search online and see on a computer. Thank God we had computers back then, like what was happening, because she was like freaking out with her sister. And it was really sad that back then we didn't have like YouTube or the ability for a lot of people to come out and just kind of voice what they're feeling and it be okay. So I think it's a huge movement and it's good that people are feeling more okay in their skin. But this is like a whole other situation if we're going to start having women be unhappy because now they're pitted against someone that used to be defined as male, born male. Let's keep it at that. If I was an athlete, which I'm not an Olympic athlete, but let's say I was a female Olympic athlete for swimming, I would be pretty pissed off. Like just at the basics, if let's say my brother uh, would always win whenever we versed each other in swimming, but he is for the men's swim team and then I'm for the female swim team. But let's say my brother decided, okay, no, I'm going to let's say he is transgender and he became transgendered woman. Then he came and competed with me and then ended up winning and I lost my medal. I would be pretty unhappy with that. So I definitely agree with this. And I think even Bruce Jenner herself, which used to be a Olympic athlete, also agrees that this is the way to go. You should separate the genders based off like your original, whatever you were born into. Because I think no matter, okay, you could say like you're a guy that ended up getting like a bunch of hormonal injections, and then so like now you should be able to compete against female because you shouldn't compete against male. But I think it gets just too tricky. It's much easier to, and it's not just like an easy path, but also to like test people and see, okay, did you do just enough hormonal injections or maybe you didn't? And but if you didn't do the hormonal injections, then you would be still more testosterone. That wouldn't really play fair with a female. And it would just all become way too complicated. So I think with sports, it should just be nice and simple, whatever it was. Or if we want to go down that path and just completely not have only male athletes compete with male athletes and female athletes compete with female athletes, and we think that males and females are completely equal, then we should just throw them all in to, you know, one basket together and everybody should we'll just have one winner and that'll be it. But every single athlete around the world would mostly have to vote upon that and agree that males and females are equal in our strengths. And I highly doubt that that would ever be the case. If the girls' chose was this, then the guys, a biological man has a clear physical advantage over you, Lucy Zin Vermont says. So here's my thing on that whole topic. Yes, I do agree that I think males are generally more strong than females. Do I think all males are stronger than me per se or stronger than all females? No. I've seen way more jacked females than males as well. But if we're going to talk generally, majority, yes, I do agree that males are more strong than most females that I know and the ones that I don't know. And just like based off of their body shapes and the muscle mass, you could just see even with your eyes that it's unlikely for most females to take down a male if we're just going to do like even wrestling or something. So that I do agree with. Is it possible if all females decided to train really, really hard in the around the world? Like if we just all decided we want to go against this and we all train really, really hard, and all the males, let's say, they just got lazy and became couch potatoes and didn't want to train, didn't want muscles at all. Like if this was the culture around the world, I think females could take males down. But it's also been all over throughout many years that men are the ones who created the system, that they would be the ones in the military and they would usually be the ones that are out there being the hunters and basically doing more athletic work. I think that's something really, really hard to wash out even in like 100 years. Thank God hospital I work for doesn't bow to the woke mob about this, Sam says. So I'm going to ask you guys as well what you think. But even if you disagree with me and you think that if you're a transgendered woman, you should totally, compete against females and win and feel good about it, then that's fine. Agree to disagree. Even though this is like a very sensitive topic, I still feel like we should always respect each other's opinions and understand that we're just never going to agree on everything. That's just the way the world works. Like I said, it's as simple as we will never like the same color, every single person in the world. We will never see one person as the most beautiful person in the world ever. No one will ever agree on anything. And that's just the way the world works. So you're just going to like chill out sometimes. Do you think born males should compete with females, or I should say biological, with females? Bio. I'm gonna put bio. Males. Does that even make sense? Compete with biological. I can't fit all these words. Bio females in sports. And remember, regardless of if you took hormones, you didn't take injections, you can factor that all in, or whether you got a surgery, or you didn't get a surgery, or you just simply define yourself as a transgender male or female. What do you think? I will never like Doge, but I like you, Sam said. That's cool. You don't have to like Doge. Most people that are close to me do not own Dogecoin, and that's totally fine. And unfortunately, the people who were making money through Dogecoin that are close to me are now either break even or lost a bunch of money. So I'm kind of glad that you guys, not every single one of you is or was obsessed with Dogecoin as much as I am, because that was quite an experience. No, okay, 100% says no. You're what? As a doctor resident, men and women are vastly different, Sam says, from bones to muscles to RBCs, lung, etc., etc. And we literally have like different body builds, right? Like we even have different bone counts. I forgot the numbers, but I learned this from like CSI or something, or NCIS, that we have different bone counts. Not to mention the way our bodies are just different, and men don't have periods. There's a lot of different things. And it's just, I think it's just funny that like I think like if anyone from like the 1600s or the 1700s like came to 2022 and was looking at the news, if they understood it or if somebody explained to them what was happening and how people are literally fighting over this stuff, they would be like, WTF? Did people just get more dumb with like more information or what? Because I think they definitely had it right in the very beginning of, not throwing men and women into any type of competition about like physical assertion. I'm not saying that I don't want to compete. I feel like it's your choice. Like I'm not an Olympic athlete, but ever since I was a child, I was just always very competitive and I love competing against guys. I've done like arm wrestling. I beat guys before arm wrestling when I was like in high school. I love competing in anything. Like I competed with like boys on how much I could eat at one point as well. That's when I wasn't on diets. So I like to compete no matter what. But do I want to compete? Like, I would like to know how I would like what kind of results I would get personally against like a dude. But do I think all females should be pitted against males for like the Olympics, for example? I think most of the result would be men winning. It would be interesting. Maybe one day the Olympics should do it just to try it out and be like, well, this is what we thought would happen. Let's try it out and show you guys the statistics and see if like actually most men are winning or surprise, it's actually females. Like I would be mind blown. But if that happens and it's like 90% of the females win if we pit against male athletes and female athletes, I'll be like, okay, cool. Guess we were all wrong all of these years, including the Roman ages. So this article reads, FINA, FINA, World Swimming's governing body, adopted a new policy to prohibit transgender women from competing in women's races. Under the new rules, a transgender woman can only compete in women's races if they have completed their transition by age 12. What? That's wild. I don't know, again, what this transition means fully. I'm assuming, but do your own DD, entertainment purposes only. I'm just going to assume that their transition by age 12 has to involve probably some type of hormonal injection or maybe surgery, because how could you, like, you can't really just say you're transitioned by the age of 12 if somebody just defines himself and wakes up one day and says, I'm still I'm a boy, but now I define myself as a girl. Kaboom, 24 hours, and all of a sudden you're transition. So I'm assuming that has to have some type of altercations to your physical body. They will then have to prove that they are continuously suppressing their testosterone levels. So again, you're gonna have to prove about your hormones. A separate open category will be created for swimming competitions in future. So I don't know what will happen if this open category would just mean anybody who's transgender, like whether you're transgender female or a male, or maybe they'll create two separate categories, like biologically male, biologically female, and then also transgender women, transgender men, maybe. I don't know. That might have to be the end of it, because I don't know if you throw in all transgender male and female, that's kind of like just pitting against men and women against each other at the end of the day, and it's still unequal the same way it would technically still be unequal, I think. Smash the like, subscribe so I don't have to. Thank you. Yes, guys, if you enjoy these daily live streams, or almost daily live streams, weekly live streams from my second channel, if you haven't checked out my main channel, link down below. If you enjoy these videos, kindly subscribe, ring that notification bell, and tap that like button, send it to the moon. You should watch the documentary What is a Woman by Matt Watch. It just came out, Sam says. Interesting. I have not seen that. Interesting eyeshadow lines. Looks very ancient Egyptian, Henry says. Thank you. That's what I was going for. Cool how everyone is getting real on the news. Wonder who started all that. Like how everyone is getting real on the news. I don't know. I feel like news like this has always made headlines. There's a lot of news actually that I would love to talk about, but I have to be very careful what I say on YouTube and not to flag the algorithms and the people watching. So there's only so many things I could say. But there will be topics like this every now and then that I just want to talk about. I mean, this is just interesting stuff. I mean, it does make you think, like, what are we doing? Like the last couple hundreds of years, have we been doing things right? Or maybe we were wrong in the first place when people didn't really have information like the different DNAs, the different hormones, testosterone levels that male and females have. They didn't have any of those information, yet they still had a lot of rules. A lot of their rules obviously were messed up as well, but I just didn't think that this whole Olympic thing they got wrong. The decision came after the International Olympic Committee left it up to individual sports federation to develop rules about transgender athletes. A task force concluded that biological women cannot compete against anyone who went through male puberty who will have higher testosterone levels. The rule will prevent Leah Thomas, which I believe is in the picture over here. The rule will prevent Leah Thomas from competing against women in international events leading up to the Olympics. Leah Thomas, a transgender swimmer who smashed women's records this year, will be banned from competing against biological women in international events after the World Swimming's governing body announced on Sunday that it is barring transgender athletes who went through male puberty. And I wonder if this is just like the beginning of like a domino effect, because if this is decided by FINA to kind of like set out the rules for swimming, I wonder what like all the other athletes that like what they're thinking, whether you're female or male athletes, like what are they thinking right now, and what type of changes will they be making, especially seeing this in the headlines? Because it doesn't really make sense, right? If you feel like it is unfair and you're an athlete, but your sports sector doesn't agree with this rule, that's been set with swimming, then that would be extremely unfair for you, especially if you feel like you are losing to biological males. And if it continues to happen and it's just like no one's going to do anything about it, yet the swimming sector did. Um, Leah Thomas, oh my God. Leah did this to make a name for himself, P. Lark says. What? Okay, well, I don't think that anyone chooses to be transgender in order to just be famous or make a name for themselves. At least I hope not. I don't think anyone would do that. But it's your guess. I don't know the person, so we're not in their heads, but I like to think that nobody would do something like that to alteration to your body. It's a huge, huge decision. So I don't think anybody would do that. And honestly, so if you ever meet anyone, please be and do not judge. I do think on everything. Like, it is true that throughout history, all countries have just been clearly against anything that is not straight, right? Like, if you're not, well, now I'm getting more into like LGBTQ, but if it's like if you're not just a male who's biologically born male and you like women, or you're biologically female and you like men, and you stay within your like box of just like you're supposed to only be a female, you can't turn into a male, or if you're a male you can't turn into a female or dress a different way. Like, throughout history, unfortunately, globally, the world has not been very kind to those people. And I think that's really sad and unfair, because it doesn't bother anyone. Like, it truly doesn't bother me. Again, I've been saying, like, if I'm walking on the street or I'm dining out somewhere and I see somebody who looks different than me, acts different than me, I just, it doesn't matter. Or acts exactly the same as me. Or if look, I'll take a second look if they look exactly the same as me. As be like, oh, I didn't know I had a twin. But literally nothing would bother me or affect me because it's just somebody else's life. So it's really, really sad that over the years, so many people had to suffer so much. Just the fear of being different from, quote unquote, like what's supposed to be normal. So I'm glad that people are more feeling free to just kind of express themselves. Obviously, with that freedom, there's going to be more and more topics like about sports and what is right or wrong, what we should be doing for these athletes. Should they be competing? And I think we should leave it up to the athletes. Like, you should just have all the athletes vote and see what most of the Olympians think, right? Again, I'm not actually an athlete, but I would love to see if you did a poll for all athletes, anybody who is Olympic qualified, and have them vote yes or no. Just my same question over here. If you get the answer and it's mostly no, then you should respect the athletes. That's just it. I don't really know any other way to put it. Yeah, I respect everyone the same, even if I don't agree with their lifestyle, Sam says, as long as we're not messing with children. Alex Jones was right. Z Vermont says, I don't know, Alex Jones. Sam, Lucy is so innocent. I don't think I'm that innocent, but okay. I'll take that as a compliment. Houston, we have a problem. Lucy is breaking up. Oh no, is my internet getting weird again? I swear I'm on Ethernet. Exactly. Look up atrazine. It's in 90% of the food supply. It turns male frog into females that can actually have babies. Henry says, what? I didn't know you can turn male frogs into females that can actually have babies. What? I thought the only male animal in the world that could have babies is a male seahorse. Is that not the case anymore? All of society was a pack of lies agreed upon long ago. Okay, but this all a trazin thing that you're talking about, that's like, it's in 90% of the food supply. What? That's crazy. So how come it doesn't work on humans then? Lucy is a trans woman and it's great. Luke's Food and Travel says, yeah, men should compete with men, women with women. If you want to identify as female or male as a normal adult, that's fine. But people born male will stay much stronger, Henry says. Again, yes, if you, it's just like as simple as the example I think I gave it. Like if my brother always won in a swimming, which he does. Like when I race him swimming, he always wins. So for him to win, let's say he's gold medalist for the Olympics for the males, and I'm gold a medal Olympian. I would be so pissed off if he just came to my side and then just took my gold medal. I'd be pretty pissed. Kids doesn't even know what to wear or eat or do in the day. Their mind always keep changing. So they're going to choose their gender, MD Rayhan says. And so the thing with kids, uh, I've heard many different things. I do know people who are transgender and transgender male, transgender female. And I've been told that there are cases, not all, but there are cases where people know when they are very, very young. I'm talking 5, 6 years old, as young as they can remember, of them wanting to be different, wanting to change this the gender that they're born into. And that thought process just like kind of never disappeared. So I do believe that it is possible for a child to make that decision and to stick with it. But do I also believe that there's a possibility for people to make decisions as a child, something as great as that, and then change their mind? I do believe that as well. So at the end of the day, just let people be, do what they want because it really does not affect you. Like it's really sad to see like people actually getting angry at what they see in public. And yeah, you can say, okay, it's for your children's eyes, but trust me, you're like, even though many, many years ago, people were like more narrow minded, I still seen a lot of stuff like out in public or online. And it's not like as a child, my mind got altered by what I saw and it just like changed my decision on my own body and what I wanted to become. I do think that everything around you naturally will affect you. But again, it's like the whole conversation of, oh my gosh, people are just watching too many, like, I don't know, video games or playing too many video games, violent video games, and take away the video games. That's why like we're having so much violence outside. Like I don't agree with that because I don't think just because you see something that you're going to turn into it. That's like a huge difference. It's like playing a game and then saying that you're going to go out and buy a gun, or that every single person is just possible to become like a crazy psycho murderer. Yeah, you could. Um, or not by watching a show, you know? So I just feel like it's really mind blowing that you still have people out there that are like, um, I don't want to see like a different, the same gender, same sex holding hands. Like I still know people who are like, I don't want to see that. What if that changes like the mindset of my children? I'm like, if that changes the mindset of your children, then that is your child's choice. Can't help you with that. I'm sorry. It's not like if you don't represent it in front of them that they would all of a sudden, you know, not change, because media didn't always exist. But for example, gay people always did, right? Like even if you go back really really far back to before we had TV, um before there was even the term LGBTQ, like any of this, like when the time when people would get like burned at the stake, or you just like go to jail or whatever if you were found out, people would risk their lives just to be who they are. Like it's not something that was very desirable like 100 years ago. Yet there were still people like that. They just have to hide it. So I definitely don't think that just if you make it disappear on the streets and you can't see certain things that you're against, that all of a sudden you can protect more children or your child from not becoming what it is that you fear. Because prior to it even being legal, there were still tons of people who would do it in secret. Luke, you are one letter from Lucy. Yeah, I know it's confusing. Henrietta is a 5-letter away. If you are transgender as an adult, it's fine, but parents wanting kids to change is just wrong, Henry says. I have seen that on my own activist friends, pushing kids into opposite gender. So that's why you should never push anyone to do anything. Everyone should make their own decision on what it is that they want to do. Watch the movie, what is a woman lucid? You will see the dance this post to kids. Western is getting effed up day by day, like what is going on.com. MD says there's a condition called gender dysmorphia. Kaloon, hi there, Kaloon. People are confused when they are young about gender. Psych Psychiatry and media disregard this condition and normalized it. So you're saying that there's a condition where people are confused about it. And I think, again, there's going to be confusion, period. I think as a child, you're just like, you get so much information shot at you every waking second. And even back when I was a kid and there wasn't as much exposure on the internet to many things like YouTube, I would still have access to a lot of things, a lot of information. And life was confusing even for me. I'm sure it is, if anything, more confusing for children now, but it is life. I don't think I don't think you would be able to really stop that, honestly. As the world progresses, humans are just going to have to adapt, and children as well. I think at the end of the day, we just need to make sure that no one is pushing anyone or enforcing anything upon anybody, but people have to be able to feel free. Like, like if you're talking more like schools, should we forcefully teach kids about every single gender that exists, which honestly, like, I can't even list all the different types of genders and, I don't know, polyamorous, monogamy, like all the different versions of dating someone that is out there, and different identities and labels. I think that should be a choice. If, like, I took one of those classes, like learning about all the different genders and studies back then, one of my classes. I think that should be a choice. If you want to learn about it, go ahead and learn about it. I definitely don't think that you need to force anyone to learn about anything, because I didn't take a class that was like, hey, you should have babies, and hey, you should get married. This should be the way that life is. I didn't take a class like that, so I don't really think that there's a need to enforce kind of like a family class, um or about like, oops, or about marriage, or really like anything like that. I don't think that's necessary. That's maybe my 2 cents, but I'm not in charge of schools and teaching. What I'm saying is more along the lines of, I don't think for those people that are like, oh, I want to shield my child from thinking too much, to, like, you can't really stop that, because what are you going to stop taking your kids to Disneyland? Stop taking them out to public, because you can't control the public, and you can't really exactly yell at people for showing something to your child that they're not ready for, right? Like, if you're going to see like two girls holding hands out on the street, but you're not ready to have that conversation, or if they're kissing in public, which is legal, you can't, if you don't want to have that conversation with your child, you can't really stop people from doing that, because that's not illegal per se. So that's just something you're going to have to get ready to talk about. Members of the LGBTQ community, Kaloon says, have the right to live their life and be who they are. But to push sexuality on children, gay or straight, is child abuse. Kids should focus on school, making friends. So in a sense, I do agree with the fact that it's mostly about making friends, and it's mostly about learning the basics, which I still think the education system has some issues, most of the world, because the basics should include how to pay your taxes, how to make enough money so somehow in this generation you can own a house, which I don't think most of us knew or was taught in school. So I have a problem with the educational system, more along the lines of not enough financial education. And yeah, to me, financial education should be way up here, and then all of the gender identities and all that stuff is probably down here, and then in between is like gym and English and all that. So Yeah, if I had to pick, I think that's a very, very tough topic. But if I had to choose, I would say let's get more finance in there, less of the other topics. Um, MD, kissing in public is disgusting. I highly disagree with that. I do not think kissing in public is disgusting. Yes, I do PDA. Have you seen LGBTQ plus academic material they've tried pushing on schools? No, I have not done. I've never seen it. I do not have children. So unfortunately, like I said, I don't have to deal with those tough questions that I'm sure around the world, many teachers and parents are currently wondering about. Depending on what state you live in, obviously very, very different rules. And it's just a very, very tough question because honestly, even though I'd rather my kids be educated more with finance than about gender studies, because I didn't really learn about gender studies when I was a kid, I feel like I didn't grow up to be a hater. Um, I don't think I would care if my child learned it or didn't learn it. But I probably prefer the government to implement more financial classes. That's just where I'm going to leave it at. Uh, Alan, I can't just make people mods. I'm sorry, Alan. I've seen your comments. I cannot just make people mod. Many people have asked me to make them mods. So I've just decided not to make anybody mods unless, I'm doing like a billion live streams and all the mods are gone. That's when I will start making people mods. But I've been doing pretty good lately. So sorry, can't help. Lucy's eyeliner makes her look different. It makes me laugh too, Luke and Travel. Are you dissing my makeup, Luke? I like to see you do a makeup tutorial and then try me. Lucy, did you hide the Doge pillow in spite, Dawn? It's literally right here, guys. I still love him. It's right here. No, I think I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna bring out the Doge pillow when the time is right, meaning when we're closer to the moon than further away from it. Uh, wait, hold on. Okay, moving on from the topic. Thank you for every single one of you with your awesome inputs, giving them an unfair advantage. No, your internet is okay. Okay, thanks, Luke, for confirming. As long as no surgeries in kids, Sam says. Well, I really don't think we need to do surgeries for children, because surgeries is a huge decision. And even to get like my belly button pierced, I needed to wait till I was 16. And to drink, you have to wait till you're 21. Again, I think to drink is a much bigger, surgery is a much bigger decision. Any part of your body, surgery, than drinking. So I think we need to move surgery to 21 years old if drinking is 21. Even though I do think it's weird that somebody just makes a decision like, aha, at 21, somehow, you know, you're ready. You're ready to make these life-changing decisions. Even though in like Canada, I think you could be 19 and start drinking. So just very, very different laws around the world. Who did you elbow? The person, Matt? Henry? Oh yeah, you missed that. I'll catch you up. I elbowed my SO today when I was dancing to Blackpink, pretending to be Lisa from Blackpink. He bled 5 minutes. All is good. He did not get mad at me. And that's a sign of, you're in a good relationship when they don't get mad that you elbow them in the nose. They had a nosebleed afterwards. Like, relationships, I'm telling you guys, I've been in relationships where the beginning, like, they'll never get mad at me for anything. And then, like, 6 months in or a year in, it's like all of a sudden I drop some crust. This is actually a true story. I remember this guy that I dated when in our first 3 months on his carpet, I dropped pasta with meatballs, the sauce, and the whole ordeal on the carpet. Wasn't mad at all. Was like, don't worry. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Was not mad at all. Cleaned it up for me. Was like, oh my God, don't worry. It's just carpet. It'll leave a stain, whatever. 6 months or like, I think a year into the relationship, we were eating pizza. I'll never forget this. It always pisses me off. I took a pizza box. It was empty. I accidentally held it the wrong way. And then the crust, so like the part, I guess that was open, the crust, the little crusty parts just crumbles, fell onto, I think it was also carpet at the time, maybe floor, I forget. Floor is even easier to clean, but whatever. It fell down. That's like a vacuum. It's so easy to clean up. He like got so ballistic and mad and just started to like yell at me for being like a klutz. And I like right away I was like XXX. I'm like, wow. And I right away remembered about my pasta incident in the beginning of the relationship and then the pizza crust. And I'm like, WTF, how could one be more mad at the pizza crust thing when he wasn't even that mad at the pasta thing? And I was like, okay, I get it. That's just, you're just an a-hole. And then also with the time, right? Like you're just in a relationship for longer. They don't have to be as sweet to you anymore later on. And needless to say, that relationship ended. Not off of just the pizza box, but you know, little things add up and I don't forget, just like elephants. But I will say, um, this was a crazy, a hilarious, and also kind of scary post on Instagram that I, if you saw my story, it's still there. An elephant kills woman and comes back to stomp on her corpse at funeral. Like this actually happened. Where and then you know how they say elephants never forget. So this woman, I don't know, there's no context as to what she might have done to piss off this elephant, but I saw this on memes are and it says an elephant actually killed a lady and then also went back onto her funeral just to stomp on her corpse, which is insane. And I don't know the laws of wherever this happened at. I don't think it's in the US. But it's wild to me. Like anywhere else you would think that the animal would be like, I don't know, taken out or something. Uh any dating tips, Lucy Allen says? I only meet cheating chicks. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Alan. Um, but I don't know if you were here for a previous, we talked a lot about relationships in the past on this channel. Um, I've had two serious relationships where both of the guys cheated. One heavier than the other, um, just based off like what type of cheating. But both cheated. And I'm in a relationship now where luckily, that has not happened, and clearly, I am happy. Um, so yeah, I just, I guess I want to tell you, like, just because people didn't know your value and appreciate you, and they messed up, which is their loss, does not mean that you will not find someone later on who does appreciate you. So I hope it doesn't. Don't like date people thinking like everybody's a cheater. I definitely never gave up my hope on love even after the bad experiences. The first one really, really wrecked me. And then the second one, it was even more painful to be like, wow, how did I meet two people in a row that's just not faithful, or couldn't be as faithful as I wanted them to be. And it was really painful to deal with. But I think, you know, with these bad experiences, you grow, you become stronger. And I definitely felt like I got stronger. And the more relationships I have afterwards, whatever happens, happens. I'm ready. Like it's cold to say, but I am always ready to leave if somebody is not faithful. That is like my bottom line. And I think you can't really guard yourself, I think, from the really tricky, evil ones who are just like really good at sneaking behind your back. I wasn't, I didn't deal with like anything crazy like that where like somebody was so good at cheating that I checked like everything and I couldn't find any details of them cheating and it was just like all in my head. It wasn't like that. It was pretty obvious. And I was very confrontational. I found out luckily. Um so yeah, I think it's harder when you're dealing with like a very vicious person who enjoys and gets a kick out of cheating because unfortunately there are people like that. Um, there are just certain ways I think you can find out. For example, if they don't have any social media. There's a lot of ones where I'm learned from my friends that when, let's say, a girl or a guy, usually people have social media. There are people who aren't cheaters that I know that don't have social media, but I think the whole social media factor, you meet somebody who says they don't have anything, um, could be that they just don't want to add you on anything. They don't want to be accountable for posting an image of you guys together, because maybe they have other girls or guys or whatever. I think that's like a huge way to find out, or could they possibly be shady, right? Or let's say they had social media right upon meeting you, and then right after meeting you, they're like, okay, I'm going to delete it. Also, a little massive red flag over there. Also, cheaters, I feel like, right? It's very obvious. It's like, okay, if you're in a serious relationship and, let's say you're not living together, you're living separately, but where does all their free time go? Right? You have really no proof of where they're at, and they're constantly like not picking up the phone or texting you 10, 12 hours later, 2, 3 days later, and you know their exact schedule. Just like, when it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. So there's just like, I think in a healthy relationship where that person's not a cheater, you kind of just know, because they shouldn't make you feel uncomfortable. You should know their close friends, and from their close friends and possibly family, you'll be able to also tell like if this person is likely to be a cheater. But obviously, there's a first for everyone. So even if you do meet their family and their close friends, some close friends will like cover for them and be like, "Oh, this is the greatest guy ever." Total F boy, also possible. So it's hard to catch one, but I think like if you find certain shady things, just always confront, right? Be like, oh, you told me that you were out with like this girl shopping. But I saw you with this guy instead at the coffee shop or whatever. Um, Again, that's just a major red flag. I would just be super confrontational. And I wish I stuck to my guts earlier on in certain relationships, because I've caught lies and I let it slide because I tried to believe, and I was very naive and young. Um, would never do it again. For me, it's like, you make an unnecessary lie, you're not trustworthy. And unless you could back it up with the most amazing reason for the lie, which most people can't, then GTFO. That's the thing. I'm just kind of like, meh, at this point. Alan says, I don't care anymore. It's kind of sad. Appreciate your point of view. No, don't give up on love, Alan. I seriously believe in it. I don't know when. I don't want to say, I know for sure it's going to happen for you this year as BS. I don't know when it will happen for you, but I guess positive energy. And I think it could happen any year of your life. I think everyone like romanticizes finding the love of your life in like your early 20s or something, or 30s. There are people that I know that find true love at like 50 or 60. Not saying you have to wait that long, but you could still fall in love and meet the one at 50 or 60. Okay, I'm not even going to read what Luke says because Kaloon's like, WTF, Luke. Pasta, the American pronunciation, but pasta is the Canadian pronunciation and really sounds weird to Americans, Crimson says. I say pasta. Pasta. I say a lot of things weird if you haven't noticed. Take a trip to Thailand or Philippines, Alan. Let's go, Henry says. Uh, Kaloon says, my ex got pissed at me for watching Japanese idol music videos. Who is a Japanese idol? Can I search one up? I don't really know Japanese idols. I think I'm like heavier on the K-pop stuff. I don't really know any Japanese idols. Watching Japanese idol music videos on my TV when we were studying in college, and I told her, do I go to your apartment and tell you what to watch? She never did it again. Oh my God. That's good. That's good. That's hilarious. I am guilty of that though, Kaloon. I have said things to people that I've dated, and I was like, really? I'm like, you're watching this? Why are you watching this? I've got a similar response back. So yeah, I try not to say much, but sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. But I get it. I don't. I've had I've dated people who are like very very similar taste to me. Like watches nearly everything the same, but I have very like strange tastes. So there's never going to be a single soul out there that enjoys every little thing that I watch. And I watch a lot. So yeah, I'm bad. Uh, you're our favorite weirdo. Thanks, Sam. Love it. So yeah, guys. Wait, hold on. Wow, that pillow looks bigger. LOL. It's just because you haven't seen my Doge pillow for a while. I think everything looks bigger. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice when I bring back out the Doge pillow. GB Love says, yeah, I heard I give my whole pizza to my first love. And eventually I give half or a single slice to love. But after my heart damage, I still want to give 80% pizza. Glad not 100% anymore. That's so funny, GB Love. Now I'm gonna like think about giving away like 100% of your heart as like slices of pizza. That's sweet that you would give 80% of your pizza away. I don't think I would do that. I would give 50% of the pizza, and that's about it. But give your whole heart. Give your whole heart. Um, if they're giving you their whole heart. And if they're not giving you their whole heart, then don't give anything and walk away. Run real fast. I ate pho for the first time, Alan says. No way. How was it? Did you like it? Pho is like one of my favorite noodles of all time. But I think I like it more when I'm like sick, like, when you have like chicken noodle soup or something, or winter times, or when like it's cool outside. When it's like really hot, I try to stay away from like hot bowl of noodles. I like to make like more cold noodles and stuff like that. Go to Asia and you will find way better girls than Wes and who will respect you more than those chick MD says. I don't know, man. I know some pretty rude girls in Asia as well. Anyways, thank you all so much for joining me on this very long live stream where we went down a rabbit hole path everywhere. But it was interesting. I'm happy to hear from all of your different, outlooks on life and relationships, your opinions on what's going on in the world with everything that is happening and all the changing rules every other day. I honestly think that there's going to be more news like this because it can't just be the swimming sector. So we'll see. Take care, guys. Tomorrow, stock market's closed. So for those of you that were going to wake up early to trade, stock market's closed, but crypto market's always open. Smash the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you guys soon.